YouTube, it's Tone, back again with another one for you. And this is actually one of my favorite topics to talk about because, I kind of stumbled into this shit accidentally. It was when I started studying this law, it was really to get free. I knew that there was a problem with the system, and I was like, what the fuck is, like, these people should not be able to do the shit that they're fucking doing to us. I was like, let me figure out how the hell that they're even doing this shit. And as a byproduct of me trying to become free, I kind of got handed the keys to fucking everything I wasn't even looking for, that I didn't even know I needed. And so it was because when I realized that all these courts were really essentially just banks, and it was all a commercial transaction, and I was taking the whole incident personally rather than dealing with it in the sense of like a business aspect, right? Because you're gonna get pulled into all these different avenues of law. You're gonna have to start, it's not just about criminal law. It's it's trust law, it's tax law, commercial law. It's so many other aspects to this game because it's not what it was that we've been told. And so this here is called bank, temples, and courthouses, which is one and the same. So I'm gonna go through a couple of pages of this book, and I mean, this shit is awesome. If you guys want it, send me an email. I'll send you the I'll send you the PDF of this thing so you can really get into it. So this is called so let's just run into this here. So it says and so this is another reason why you want to learn how to do, which I have on my pages, the 1099A, the 1099C. That's going to teach you how to cancel debt, because what you got to understand is that all of these court cases are really just a commercial charge. It's like a credit card charge. How much they're charging you for your light bill, your gas bill, those are all charges. It's all commercial. So when you understand that and you go into these courthouses, and I haven't done this yet, and I'm not going to tell you what to do either, but don't think that I won't, and don't think that I'm not going to, because I actually do have something that's open that I'm going to drop this shit on their head over there. And I mean, these people are funny too. When you go in there, it's like they don't know what the fuck is going on because nobody's ever done this. There's not that many people that really stand up to any of these people at all ever. And then especially when you walk in here and like you know what you're doing, it's game over. So right here it says the proper implementation and use of Internal Revenue Service forms W-9. The W-9 is going to get you their TIN or their EIN. So you want to send that to them directly because they're going to have to give it to you. If they don't give it to you, then you go through the IRS and tell them that that this corporation, which is parading as a courthouse, refuses to give you their EIN or their TIN in order for you to discharge the charge that they're charging you with, and so the IRS will just put it in. So you send in your paperwork without putting the W-9 in because they wouldn't give it to you, and the IRS will take care of it. So just get their names or whatever, things like that. So the W-9, the 1040V, the 1099A, 1099OID, and the 1096. You know, the funny part about this is that there's a commercial value to a monetary value to every charge that has ever been brought forward to you. So you can go back and claim the 1099OID. So when you get comfortable with that, you start getting the treasury checks for the value of whatever the charge was. And I mean, these charges are astronomical. So I mean, if they're charging you with freaking whatever, you should be happy to go in here with all these forms because you're gonna get fucking paid. You know what I'm saying? It's really like that. So then they're not gonna get the money, and when they know that they're not gonna get it, they don't want to fucking play with you anymore. You know what I mean? Well, okay, so whatever. So appears to be effective in dealing with the corporate gangsters, foreign bar agents, and executive trust administrators. Each time I've mailed them in certified or walked up to the window or asked to speak with the head teller, the clerk of the commercial court, they don't seem to want to do any banking business with you when they discover that it will not be profitable to engage, deceive, or swindle you out of your Federal Reserve notes. My willing to learn family and friends have their cases dismissed with a cease and desist order to vacate with prejudice. This appears to be the closest remedy to a silver bullet that I have come across. I will never attempt to prove beyond this remedy, and I have zero evidence that this is an effective approach, and beyond this personal testimony of the people who have walked in these private tribunals with IRS forms in hand and have come out unscathed or injured. I would suggest taking the time to learn and understand why this is effective before you attempt to wing anything unprepared. I would advise the same. Don't go in there being an asshole if you don't really know what these forms are for and what you're doing in there with them. So definitely get comfortable with just filing your own taxes this way. And once you understand the way that everything works, then you go in there and you know how to deal with them. When you know how to deal with your electric company, your gas company, the credit card company, and you're doing all these forms, 1099A, C, OID, 1040V, 1096, and when you get comfortable doing that just with your own personal life, it's the same exact thing when you go in there, except you're bringing your forms in there. It helps when you think in terms of banking. The corporate courts are banks and conducting banking business only at the expense of freedom, life, liberty, and our pursuit of happiness in the American way. These private administrative tribunals are not administering justice. They are all municipal, corporate, and administrative only, which operate exclusively in commerce, in admiralty, and in equity. And this is why one of the services that I offer is a promissory estoppel. And what that is it puts you in a position to be able to hold them liable, accountable, publicly and privately with the one contract here, because it's going to be sent to them directly. And when you get it notarized, it puts it into a position of being valid in the public, but it is a private contract with them because you send it to them directly. And so you want to bring these into court with you as well. And then you're going to go ahead and show up to court with an invoice at that point, because you already have contracted with these people, so they should already have known. It doesn't matter if they fucking act like they got it or not. You know, the fact that you have your proof there, the postmaster stamped it and all that. You know, if they want to act like that, then you can bring them up on charges of mail fraud and things like that, and then they have to deal with the military at that point. It's not going to be any of their friends that are going to be able to knock the case off for them like that. It's not going to work like that. So a couple of interesting points there. So now we'll go to the next page, and it says, it helps when you think in terms of banking. The corporate courts are banks and are conducting banking business only at... Hold on. Yeah, so we just ran through that, I think. So these private administrative tribunals are not administering justice. And here it is. So they don't want to play anymore when they see the dials and numbers on their cash register spinning backwards. I have no qualms about filing a form 3949A or Financial Send 101 or FinSend 104 reports against them for obstruction of Title 26, impeding tax filings as well, misappropriation of public funds, tax evasions, and embezzlement. That's precisely what is going on in these private banking centers. They are running two sets of books, right? An audit of their books and records would not go over well. And that's because they never pay taxes, but they're not a tax exempt business because they deal with currency. And as soon as you start dealing with money, as soon as they start taking Federal Reserve notes, they are demoted from what would have been a governmental agency down to a mere corporation. And that's a fact. And I have different videos here too in the catalog for you to check through if you're having any issues like that make it real simple. Examples for you to fill out and send to the Treasury and the IRS Criminal Investigation Division. Awesome shit here to learn. Extremely liberating shit here. So, reporting the commercial case to the IRS, Part 1. In commerce, whoever creates the liability has to bring the remedy, right? So they're going to charge you with something and then act like, oh, well, what do you want to do about it? And they're only going to give you options for things that are going to benefit them. They're only going to tell you options that are going to benefit their business. So you're not going to walk into Mickey D's and they're not going to tell you about how Burger King has a better deal down the road and shit. It doesn't work like that. They're here to try to rob you. Straight up. So, right? So, appears that the corporate commercial courts and foreign bar attorneys are not providing a remedy pursuant to public law or public policy. So, why not create your own? You may exercise your due diligence, be in compliance with Title 26 CFR if you choose, and report the transaction as a taxable transaction to your accountant and the public, the IRS. It appears that the so-called judges in America tend not to honor congressional mandates or House Joint Resolution 192, June 5th, 1933, Public Law 7310, and the 73rd Congress or 48 statutes, statutes at large, pages 112 through 113, and Title 31 U.S.C. 5118, Money and Finance, or explain to the U.S. the resulting discharge of the obligation to pay under the bankruptcy of the United States. So they got caught under the bankruptcy and the reorganization of the United States. So essentially, what they are is like bankruptcy bankers, right? And they're not going to tell you that there's a way to discharge the commercial charge. They only do that for their friends, right? Yeah, well, you don't have to be their friend to do this. You know what I mean? But they'll probably want to be your friend after you do this. So how you like that one? So if it were me, I would attain the commercial. Hold on. I forgot to write this down. All right, so here we got. If it were me, I would attain the commercial administrator or clerk's permission agreement to file an IRS 1099-A and 1099 OID on the case they have issued, bid payment and performance bonds against all the all capital letter name, which would be your straw man, your your conduit, right? So you can do this by their arrogance in the form silence via certified mail. Silence in admiralty is fatal. The clerks, bankers will never answer you. You will be dishonored by everyone in a foreign corporate courthouse or admiralty and equity. You may file a letter of escrow instructions and notice for acceptance of value on the case with a notice of settlement report to the IRS, which gives you the right to file a 1099-A, 1099 OID into the commercial case file. I would assign a contract number on each letter. You will need time date stamps on an IRS Form W-9, the A, OID, etc. from the clerk as supporting exhibits to be filed with the IRS. The IRS people will see what the case is valued at and will expect the tax to be paid. You should agree to pay any tax associated with the value you have assigned to the commercial court case. It appears that the corporate court officials steal our private exemption to avoid their tax liability under Title 26 and are not paying the tax on the commercial market value of the case. This also calls for the filing of an IRS Form 3949A, suspicious activity with the Treasury, and a FinCEN 101 and or FinCEN 104 reports financial crimes enforcement network. And trust me, they come down and get their fucking money. If you think the IRS does not want their money, they come in and get that shit. Guaranteed. And trust me, the people in the courthouses know that shit. They know that. And even if they don't know that, they don't want to run the risk. It's really not worth it. Rather just let you go home. So, right here we got the last page. It says, so you may ask the clerk at the window or the open floor or in the open. I wouldn't do it in open court, because these are private matters that you probably want to handle privately. And I think that they'll actually appreciate it if you were to speak to them privately about it and let them know that you don't want to blow up their fucking spot in front of everybody like that. You know what I mean? So, you're probably better off just speaking to them privately about it. But you can, if you feel like being a dick, you can definitely go in there and be an asshole. I mean, sometimes I like being an asshole too, because they don't mind it, right? The guys that they have out here with guns, kidnapping you and shit with fucking costumes on. They don't care to fucking disrespect you out in public either. So, it's up to you. But, so anyway. So you may ask the clerk at the window or in the open forum court what the value of the case is, what the QSIP number is, since you are aware that the case has been securitized and sold on the open market. The QSIP identifier has proof that the case has been monetized and securitized. You are not supposed to know this. The prosecutor and clerk are planning to float the bonds out in the open market into investment pooling funds for profit for the benefit of the retirement accounts that they put in their coffers in the private little fucking trust accounts, right? That they probably thought couldn't be touched, but I'm pretty sure they can get touched. If they haven't already. There's a lot of shit going on behind the scenes. I'm sure that they know that their time is real limited at this point. That's just a matter of time at this point, to be honest with you. So they might want to start playing nice and shit. So that's what I got for you for now. I think this shit is fire. If you want this PDF, send me an email. I'll get it right out to you. And definitely do your homework, do your research on how all these forms work. I got you with the 1099A and with the 1099C. I got videos explaining what goes where, and it's really simple. But like I said, practice doing this shit at home first. So you get comfortable with just dealing with corporations, TINs, EINs, and all that before you go to start fucking with these people like that. You know what I mean? You don't want to just run in there with this and try to get something fixed overnight. They're gonna fucking probably throw you in jail for being an asshole. So definitely learn it first, and so that way you can walk in there with confidence. And when they look in your eyes and they see that you're not flinching, they have no choice but to back down because they're nobody's anyway. And once you know that and they know that you know that, what are they gonna do? So, that's what I got for you for now. Until we meet again.